Hello, John Block.
Yes, Dr. Mansi Shah. Be generous with the share screening if you don't mind.
I'd love to, yes. So we're live, and today is our amazing topic that we're going to dive into. It is how we went from 0 to 357K, and that was in about 13 months. Actually, 354K. Yeah, we added some money later on, but yeah, 354K in 13 months.
So we're not saying this to brag or look at us because it's really not about us. It's really about empowering the leaders that we've gotten to across this time and how we've set up a system for them to be able to apply themselves to become, as we call it, abundant tribe leaders. Hey, Ro is joining us. Fantastic.
Well, yeah, people will be joining in the process, and we are also live. So this will be more workshop style where whoever is watching us from whatever platform that we are live, it's going to be beneficial for them to understand how we did this.
Got it. So as y'all can tell, we did not overly plan this one. It's being in flow, being present, and giving all we can during this next hour, right? We have until top of the hour.
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you want to start with a guided meditation, honey?
Yeah, we can do that. And let's get started with a guided grounding meditation. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Exhale all the stale air out. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths and make that the norm of how you breathe. This meditation is truly getting into the essence of who you are and how your leadership is meant to be in this world. What are the ripple effects of your leadership that you wish to see? And what is the modality that you want to use? Now, since we have set the intention for the grounding meditation, pick a spot where you feel the most blissful and serene. A place where you can be your true essence, who you are meant to be in this world. And then this could be a lavender field, a ocean, a beach, shore type of scenery, or it could be in the mountains. And wherever your soul is calling, you can navigate to that amazing place. Now, once you've picked that spot, see a golden globe of light coming from the heavens, and your crown chakra right here is aligned with the golden globe, and it's healing energies that you're getting in this amazing blissful place that you have chosen to be your true essence and stay in your heart. Go deep in your heart and see how your leadership can truly flourish in this world. The heart center leader that you're meant to be, how you can be more of that. And imagine the tribes that you get to lead. Abundance tribes. These abundance tribes are honing in to values of health, wealth, and spirituality. As a leader of these tribes, you are the steward for making sure that your tribe is thriving. See how your impact and influence in this world can have a ripple effect. You have a bigger calling. You have a big heart, a philanthropic heart, and you want to be there for your community and step into your wholehearted leadership. Spend some time here. What does that look like? Don't let your mind wander. Anytime that happens, recalibrate yourself. What can these tribes achieve? What can we truly do for the world? What can we do for each other? How can we replenish our planet and our relationships? The abundance, the codes that get unlocked. What does your impact look like in this world? Yes, you, one leader, you are sufficient to create the magnitude of changes that you wish to see because you were going to have domino effect. The ripples of your impact will go far, far out in the world. Now, slowly go back in your heart, feel the love for humanity, for planet, for your family, for your clients, and slowly come back to the physical realm here on planet Earth and slowly open your eyes.
All right. Thank you for that. Welcome to this present moment. And as we dive into this topic of small events, big profits, my name is John Block. And alongside my beloved Dr. Mansi Shah, we have created Abundance Retreat Club. And this is for coaches, consultants, holistic practitioners who are here to really master earning, managing, and investing money, creating true wealth. We believe very strongly in getting off the hamster wheel of the one-on-one and the chasing of clients that can often lead to burnout or a just over broke, the job, like you've built yourself a job, and creating true abundance. Then we have a upper level called abundant tribe leader, which is for those who are really called to lead others, not just for themselves, but to lead others towards earning, managing, and investing and creating true wealth. So you're here because you sense that something is off with how traditional business works. You might be thinking that, wow, there's just a lot of effort and energy output that has to go into my business, and I'm not really getting the returns to show for it. Or you see this out there with a lot of entrepreneurs, and you're here to actually cause a shift, to draw a line in the sand, to say, not okay, not any longer. There are a lot of systems of control on this planet that have stopped humanity for in creating the greatest wealth possible. We can look at our American education system. We can look at how that creates employees more than entrepreneurs. We can look at California real estate laws. There are so many different ways we can look at this and just say how there are systems that are stopping us from creating true wealth. So while we do stand for wealth, health, and spirituality on the planet, as we see it, the number one thing to really have a breakthrough is our relationship with wealth, the inner healing that happens through that. And then, of course, the self actualization, the impact in the world that we get to have. Honey, you want to add something?
Absolutely. Personally, I feel that I came to America with a different perspective because I came here for living a big life with all the opportunities available and have the freedom. And, all of that was missing in India because as a little girl, you see big lines everywhere, so many people. It's truly a hustle there. And then I realized that we come here to America only to become more so like a nine to fiver. And, that's the big American dream. But now with the current conditions that we have, people are not like people like me who went into medicine and we took up a lot of debt. Now the pay scale is going down. The debt is still not going anywhere way. And people are finding it hard to buy homes. Like the millennial kids are really finding it difficult to even think about buying a home. So the American dream is truly getting crushed. We came here to have a life that could be fulfilling. And at this point, like a pharmacist is starting to make about $28 an hour. From when I graduated, it was $70. So this is a huge difference. Like it's not sustainable anymore. And that's why we're standing for stewardship of tribes and leadership, because we are going to, if we want to truly create a world where people have resources and mental health available, we need stewards for microtribes. That's what we're truly creating in the world.
So, as you get to know me and Monsi and Dr. Ken, you certainly know this about us. We really take the approach of empowering leaders. So, this is not us up here having all the answers and then trying to pour that into you. This is really a together we rise approach, and we value deeply the wisdom of those who have chosen to show up in our field. We have been very blessed. I think it's a high level discernment we bring to with who we choose to spend our time with, that they have to be able to teach us something we didn't already know. And so, consequently, at our retreats and all of our events, there are so many wise leaders who come together. So, on that note, would love to hear from you if you want to put into the chat. What do you see is not working with abundance on the planet? Okay. So you can approach that from a specific angle with entrepreneurs and creating abundance, or Americans and creating abundance, or in your own personal experience, like what is not working with creating abundance on the planet. So I'd love to hear what's present for you right now. All right, Kathy. Great to have you here, Kathy. Programming that we should let the banks and the government have all the control. Yes, that's something that Monty and I connected on our first 4 hour date we had over dinner. We refer to it as the Matrix. So many of you have seen the movie The Matrix, and this is part of it, that there is a high level of collusion, and this is designed to make the people on top really as rich and as secure as possible, and the rest of us have to figure it out. And that's one reason we believe in this concept of abundance tribes, that it's through intimate groups like this, that's where change, revolution can really, really happen. This is the positive revolution, gang, that really uplifts and spreads light everywhere. Jill, mindset. Yes, as I hear that, spot on, the limiting beliefs that people have around what they can and cannot do. Oftentimes, a cynicism, resignation, that we hear from people like, oh, that we can't do it, it's all like beyond our control. That is a mindset issue, right? And Dr. Ken, consolidation of wealth and political power and transnational corporations and political dynasty families. Yes, along similar lines to what Kathy was pointing to. Anyone want to add to that? Honey, you want to add to that?
Well, human beings are so programmable, and we have been constantly programmed to believe that we have to live on pennies. We there is only so much money we can make. There is limited resources for everything. Limited, right? The scarcity mindset. I was going deep into understanding capitalism, and capitalism works because of scarcity based concepts that it's created on. So we are all standing for ethonomics, which basically means economics based on ethics, where everybody gets to win and there is abundance, right? So that's what we're creating through our abundance tribes.
So as we dive into small events, big profits, which is really the nucleus for having an abundance tribe, right? Is that you have to know this model of small events, big profits. We'll point to some things that are not working, and I'll share this in the context of my own personal experience. So I used to be a music and arts festival promoter after graduating from USC Film School and not making any money in that particular matrix of the film industry. I decided to go back to my roots of throwing high school house parties and try doing a professional level by doing the music and arts festivals. And what I can tell you about the events game, where I was looking to get thousands of people to be the next Coachella, is that it's a lot of work and a lot of money, and it really resembles gambling more than running an actual business. So maybe you've tried this game before. If you haven't, I do not recommend trying it. You can just hear this as evidence of why not to do it. I do think it's a young person's game and sort of like a foolish errand. And that was the phase I was in. I was going to Coachella a lot. I'm like, this is what I want to do. And what I found is that if the weather was bad, then people wouldn't show up. And then my exhibitors would be really angry with me that they didn't get the turnout that they were promised. And then the renting of stages and all that. Very, very expensive productions. And I didn't have a back end where I was offering something for people to continue on with me. And it wasn't until I went to seminars as I was trying to figure out, why am I not making money? Why am I not successful? I just turned 30 at the time. So I started going to seminars and I saw, wow, they all have some kind of back end thing. You go to see someone speak, they present on their expertise, and then they invite you into something else. And these speakers oftentimes were not charging anything for to come see them. It was a negligible amount, maybe $20 to come learn on this topic. And then the real money got made for them on the back end. If they had one-on-one consulting or a live event that cost more, sometimes that live event would also be free, and then that would be or low cost, and there'd be 3 days with them, and then they would upgrade into something that would be a 10 or 15 or 25,000. So I saw this model, and it made sense to me that you must have a back end if you're going to be successful in the events game. I tried lots of different things during that time. I tried to emulate these people I saw, where I did do the free 3-day event with a $97 seat deposit, and I got 30 people to show up. By that time, I decided I want to be a mindset coach for entrepreneurs. So it was all about mindset, mindset, mindset for 3 days. And then I made an offer like called Mastering Your Mindset or something like that at the 3-day event. And out of 30 people, nobody moved at all to sign up. And this is an event that I'd outlaid about 10,000 on. So for me, it was a lot of money at the time. And nobody moved to sign up. And I got frustrated. I did something that you're never supposed to do just to get resentful towards your audience. Like, why are you not signing up? Do you know how much this place costs and how much energy I put in? Like, I need this to make my business go, right? I'm certainly thinking all these, if not saying these thoughts. And afterwards, as I was reflecting on why that didn't work, my first thought was like, oh, maybe I'm not meant to do events. Like maybe that's a delusion that I actually can earn a living at this. That was my reactive state. And maybe you've done an event before, it didn't turn out the way you wanted, and you may have had that thought. And gang, that's like going on a bad date and saying, well, maybe I'm meant to stay single the rest of my life. It's the monkey mind. Do not get hooked by the monkey mind. Dear God, there's one thing that you get from our time today. Please know the difference between your monkey mind and your inner knowing. The power of intuition, divine connections. One reason we emphasize spirituality as one of our values, because people just get it right away. And my sense is if you're here, you know what I'm talking about. My inner knowing knew that, yes, I'm meant to do live in-person events. I just haven't cracked my model yet. One thing I did decide after that free $97 seat deposit thing was, wow, I really didn't like the pressure that I put upon myself and the people there to buy the program. That in order for this to be sustainable, I had to make sales there. I thought to myself, what would it be like if I created a model where people paid a certain amount to attend the 3-day event that I put on, and that covered all the hard costs of the production in advance. So for my next event, I scaled down because you learn certain things as you go along. So I spent, instead of 10K, I spent 3K on the next event, got a sweetheart deal at the Sheraton Ballroom, and I charged $1,000, $997 per person to show up. And I had 18 people show up to that event. So 18,000 on the front end, minus the 3K in production costs, I'm 15K in the black before doors open. Much different feeling to be starting an event from this place. I was relaxed, I was confident, I was excited. I looked at the people with appreciation that they had believed in me enough to make this investment. Some knew me from around town, they saw me speak, and it occurred to me like, wow, I was holding people at a lower level. Like $97 seat deposit is all you're capable of committing? Like, no. People do want to play bigger in life, and using money as an energy to call them forward at $997 and having 18 people show up. Again, not the packed arenas that we've been brainwashed to think that we want. 18 people. Reminds me of the Margaret Mead quote as a quick side note. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. I believe that to my core. So out of the 18 people, I did make a back-end offer for 7,500. And this was a 6-month tribe, basically an abundance tribe. And we had 6 out of the 18 people join at the 7,500. So that was about 45,000 in back-end sales. So after that, this was in the year 2015, this happened. I knew I had found the model that works. And we've been doing that again and again and have empowered many others to create their version of an abundance tribe. So we can go into the steps of how to actually create an abundance tribe. Would love to take the temperature too, if you want to share in the chat. Where are you with hosting events? Have you hosted events before? what's worked, what not worked about your events. What do you see being the next level for the events that you would host? Would love to hear from you all. And Honey, anything you want to add?
Well, we're going to dabble into our model with small retreats, big profits. And the reason we're doing smaller retreats is because of how the market has shifted on what type of hotel arrangements are available and how expensive it has gotten now. And at the same time, when you really want to create a tribe, you want to have that environment where they truly feel at home and in their true essence. So I'm really excited to dabble into small retreats, big income, and go through the steps of how we did it and what is that our people can do now with that information. The timing of this is very interesting. I was just talking to my business partner yesterday who just purchased a retreat center in DR. Okay, wow.
Yeah, there is a distinct trend, and I say that in a positive way. Usually I kind of roll my eyes when someone says this, the next trend. But this one is actually a positive one because it reflects the desire for authentic, deep connection between people. That in the disconnection phase of COVID and the deliberate polarization between people, and then the reptilian brain hijacking people and all the fear, and then so many people taking things on Zoom during then and since then, the desire for intimate in-person events is greater than before. And people will charge more for this, and deservedly so. They'll pay more to participate in this. There was this sort of I wouldn't say madness, but thing that didn't make sense to me, how a lot of in-person events took their events on Zoom and then charged the same amount for the Zoom event as they would for the in-person event. And enough people like myself and Muncie and perhaps some of you thought, well, this doesn't make a lot of sense. And then there began to emerge these more intimate, curated events to go to. And that's what you get to lean into as someone who is creating an abundance tribe. People will pay to be a part of something that can help them make more money. So part of the retreat model that we have found has not worked is this notion of a health and spiritual retreat, let's say, where it's about getting off the hamster wheel of pursuing more money, which we're all for, yet somehow the topic of money is not even addressed. People won't talk about it while there. They won't make an offer of any kind for people to go on. Their back end, they won't do. And what this results in is that you have people who are really rejuvenated and they feel really activated, and then they go back to their cubicles or their routine thereafter. Nothing really shifts for them in terms of their career, mission, wealth. And what we're emphasizing here is that this is no time to be messing around. Our wealth is under attack, that there are forces stacked up against us that have already been piled just to make things so complicated, and all the red tape and so forth to sift through to create true wealth, that to really support one another is a priority right now. So let's check in with next level. Get my public speaking clear, get the basic back end offer clarified. Yes, absolutely. That is a driving force behind being an abundant tribe leader. Having your message and your speaking clear, and then what is the thing you're going to be offering people into. And
well,
Jill,
Dr. Ken is also a cherished member of our Abundance Tribe, so he's already working on this with us. And in next retreat, we would have that cleared up for him to really start making the offers. Is what I'm seeing. So,
yeah, Dr. Ken's a great example, actually, gang, of how we have created this abundant tribe opportunity or pathway, I'll say. And Dr. Ken is someone who has a background in, forgive me, is it clinical psychology?
Psychiatry. And
psychiatry, sorry.
Schizophrenia, yeah.
Clinical psychiatry. I went to film school. So clinical psychiatry. And now his abundance tribe is focused on other mental health professionals and helping them create abundance. Because, like so many, right, they've been taught from a vocational standpoint in terms of creating, quote, wealth. Get a job and work hard and save, basically. That's the, quote, game plan for creating wealth. And our commitment, and Dr. Ken has been with us at the Abundance Retreat, so he gets us at a level more than most around the earning, managing, investing to create true wealth. And now he's bringing it to this niche, which has frankly been deprived of a lot of this information and guidance. So we're really honored to be serving this audience through you, Dr. Ken. Jill shares, I'm experienced in organizing executive briefings and want to take that knowledge into psychedelic retreats. Speaking our love language, Jill. Talk about something that's on the rise. I was watching Fantastic Fungi, I think it was, where so much of the evolution in the late 60s of humanity was like, why are we in this Vietnam War? Why is the civil rights like still going on? Why is there segregation and so forth, right? It correlates directly with the rise of psychedelic usage. And then President Nixon at the time and media just like clamped down and said, these are dirty hippies or druggies and drugs, and clamped down. And one of the things that I've always been a little heartbroken about is how would the world have been different if that hadn't happened? If psychedelics was recognized for being the heart-opening, healing force on the planet that it truly is. And like all great things, it comes back around in divine timing. And this is the timing right now for it to be coming back around. So love that you see this, and the executive briefings and psychedelic retreats aren't often seen in one sentence. So we love what you're up to, Jill, and look forward to connecting with you further. So we'll go over our framework for hosting small events, big incomes. And as we do that, Monsi, I'm pulling up some of our notes right now, but what do you want to share?
Let's share a quick video of our retreat and how we've created this whole model with small events and bigger incomes. I think that would be a good start, and then we can dabble into the whole model of like the 3 steps on what to look at and how to really implement this in a very simple method.
Yeah, that's a great idea. A video to change things up a bit.
It's not complicated, guys. It's just getting the right mentors, working with the right people, looking at what they've done, come and get to know the inner workings of all of this. And then also, Dr. Ken, you get to leverage all our team members to do the different things. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to figure out what is your niche, what is the outcome for your retreats, and how we're going to have the back end and curate the community. But then the whole workings can be done with the teams that we've trained. And that's the beauty of this.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point to highlight, Dr. Monsi, that it's not all on you, gang, as the Abundant Tribe leader. Some people would think, like, oh gosh, that's a lot of pressure to be the steward for others' wealth, to be empowering them with earning, managing, investing. First off, the best way to master something is to teach it. Talk about accountability. Talk about being suddenly on the hook in a good way. You want to get in shape? Start a high side hustle as a physical trainer, right? As a personal trainer. It's that concept, though. And you're not alone. You have all of us, and this video will illustrate that.
One of the things that I love about the Abundance Retreats is like you can walk in and not know a single soul. And by the time you leave, you literally have family that you probably have been traveling with throughout eons. What John and Monsi have done with Abundant Tribe leaders is they've literally are gathering all of the Abundant Tribe leaders who are leaders in their own tribe, and they're gathering them so we can collectively learn, grow, not only for ourselves, but for our tribe. And so it's like a hub for leaders, which I find really, really cool and really necessary.
Coming here and meeting everybody, we're on the same path. We care about health and we care about wealth. My name is John Block. I'm the co-founder of Abundant Tribe Leader.
My name is Dr. Mansi Shah, and I'm the co-founder of Abundant Tribe Leader.
Abundant Tribe Leader is for coaches and consultants who are burnt out from the one-on-one model. Really, it's about stepping into a much higher level of leadership that involves leading in-person events. This is where you make the biggest impact and have the greatest abundance possible. The first step in the ATLOS is leadership and training you to be a captivating public speaker.
The second step is achieving authority in your personal brand through nailing your brand story.
The third step is creating a hybrid delivery model of both in-person retreats and online trainings. Next is the art of community building.
The fifth and most important step is achieving all this without burnout through holistic health, biohacking, and spiritual activation.
When you put all these together, it's inevitable that you become an abundant tribe leader, that you have the biggest impact you've ever had in people's lives, that you are the most abundantly rewarded because you provide such extraordinary value. That's what we're standing for.
I feel this sense of true acceptance, compassion, support for one another. That's allowed me to level up, not just here, but also outside of here.
We have games, hiking, sound bath healing, we have medicine-based movement, we have channeling, we have Akashic records, and you name it, you get it there. Even to relive your inner child again is what you get to experience over there.
There isn't one thing that I don't love, celebrate, and honor about the Abundant Tribe community.
So my name is Chris Gandy, better known as the Tax Wizard. I'm super excited about being a part of John and Mansi's community because it's like family. You meet people and you build relationships over time, and those are the relationships that end up feeding you and sourcing your energy as you continue to build your network and also build your organization and enterprise in a community where you can actually collaborate and also expand each other's wealth.
I hold myself back. I have self-doubts. I have fears. Do I have what it takes? Just being surrounded by this tribe, I mean, literal tribe, it's given me the confidence, seeing other people's growth, but once again, believing in me that I do have what it takes. I do have gifts that I really want to share, and I've held myself back, and I'm done with it.
This is for you if you're calling for a deeper truth, a deeper connection of shared values, if you're willing to do the inner work, if you have a higher mission for humanity, if you are really inspired by having unlimited health and wealth in your life, then connect with us.
We invite you to have a conversation with us to see if this is a good fit, to join us with our soul family at the Abundance Retreat. Thank you.
The Abundance Retreat is held 3 times per year. Our next is happening July 15th through 17th. So if you are interested in that or a future Abundance Retreat, you know that this is something that could be a really good fit for you, then just DM us and just DM us with the word abundance, and then we'll set up a conversation and then see how we can best serve you. We hold some in San Diego. That's another question that comes up. So we rent mansions in nature, and it tends to work out really beautifully, and all the accommodations and food is included, and we're really committed to having the right people there. So that's why we set up this one-on-ones, and we're able to see if this truly is aligned. So as we dive into your model for small events, big income, the first principle that you must have down is a specific niche. Many retreat leaders approach their retreats as, you might say, a plumber, a tattoo artist, a massage therapist would, where if you have a toilet, a human body that can be tattooed, or a back that can be massaged, then you're an ideal client for that retreat leader. They'd be like, we're doing this thing, anyone can sign up. If you feel this is something that you resonate with, just like getting a tattoo, something that you think is cool, you can get a tattoo and that from that tattoo artist. you can go to this Costa Rican retreat center and have this experience. That's how most retreat leaders operate. And this does not work, because if you just think about it from a business owner standpoint, where do you network? How is this actually efficient in terms of finding your people? So those of you who are coaches get this principle, yet retreat leaders tend to miss this mark, is that you must have a niche. You don't just say you're a life coach. You have to have a specific niche that you're serving, whether it's like helping, common example, coaches with high ticket sales, for instance. Now, with the retreat leaders, we love the principle of honing in on a certain niche that can either be an occupation or it's like a racial or cultural like type bond, right? So I'll give you specific examples. First off, we say these as cases because these groups already gather in person. So on the occupation front, it could be realtors. It could be like Dr. Ken, like mental health professionals. It can be alternative health leaders. If you just look around, these are conferences that already happen, speakers and coaches. These groups are already getting together. So you can choose a niche based on occupation. The second way is that it could be racial, cultural. So we have one of our tribe members who focuses on women of color. She's a Black woman herself. So helping them create generational wealth. You know, there are gatherings for Black women in business, right? So it gives her a distinct place to be focused on, to be a guest speaker at, and it's something that she feels really strongly about is her why here. So when you have that niche come together, then there's a distinct value. I've been to retreats where there hasn't been a niche, and it's like, oh, I love everyone here. We have this big bond from the heart, yet there's no reason to stay in touch and really to rise together. And there's no back end offer oftentimes created either, which hopefully by now you get is really important to have at your retreats, that there is a back end offer that you get to rise together in with your niche. So would love to hear from some of you what you think your niche could be if you were to be hosting an event.
Holistic doctors with large student loan debt.
That's near and dear to Dr. Monty's heart.
Kathy, you are on the right Zoom for that, because we're going live right now on multiple platforms and I got a big audience on that. So that's a really good niche, Kathy. They need help. And I know you're an infinite banking specialist, so that would also come handy to understand how to replicate your dollar in a way that will help you get out of those debts. So that's awesome. We got Rose saying helping techies build wealth via real estate investments. Okay, yeah. So techies, real estate. And then Kathy says healthcare practitioners with student loan debt, and she wants specifically holistic. Dr. Ken, I think we've mapped out a little bit healthcare professionals in mental health space, and who are ready to take their knowledge and skills to the next level of what they are practicing, right? Like up leveling the view.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Bro,
also,
sorry, go ahead.
I'm also thinking about families who have a 20, 30-year-old son or daughter with schizophrenia. But in terms of who can maybe support the business, it might be the other mental health professionals. I like that. I think of those two avatars.
Yeah, well, with your other avatar, that it could be served to your 12 disciples that we will launch, and then the work can get easier and really profound when you have your support system ready.
Yeah, gang. So coming from screenwriting, one of the things that I was trained in is to blend the fresh and familiar, right? So if someone tries to like invent a new genre of movie, that's going to be a really tough road to hoe. Audiences are not going to be able to get like, oh, what is this? Is this an action movie? Is it like a thriller, right? And that's just kind of understanding audiences. So if we were to pick genre fans, this is the approach in screenwriting that also applies here, where there are already gatherings of mental health professionals. You're in the genre of a mental health professional event. versus this other niche, which you started out with us initially thinking about the families. There's not really a precedent for those families getting together and paying money to get together. This makes sense, gang? Okay. So you're the familiar part is that they're already paying money to get together. And then the fresh part is your unique spin with being an abundant tribe leader, inviting them to your retreats and being part of your abundance tribe. Ro, let's speak to yours. Helping techies build wealth via real estate investments. I think this is a good start, a good direction to be in. And what's missing for me is when you say techies, it allows my mind to wander a bit too much in terms of what kind of techies are we talking about? Is it tech entrepreneurs? If so, are they in the startup phase? Are they established? Or is it people who are just techie by nature and don't really get real estate investing? I think that would be a broader niche that would be a little harder to pin down because I can't imagine them, again, congregating in person the way I would say at these tech entrepreneur summits, which I see a lot of.
I feel a good niche would be techies who are still in their 9 to 5 because they still have a means to create that bridge. And then they could have a vision to go full time in real estate investing and all that in the next 5 to 7 years. So this is all up to Ro because he's the one who would know the most about what is his tribe calling.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point too, is that your tribe is calling for you. So the calling can be experienced in many different ways, gang. So look for the signs that your tribe is calling for you. Yes, there is that inner knowing that like I can feel them calling for me. That's one big part of it. Yes. And as you're out in the world talking about this, which we highly encourage you to be doing every single day, talking about who you're meant to serve, the work that you're meant to be doing at this next level, see what the feedback is. When you start having people say like, wow, that sounds amazing, this is perfect fit for me, then you know that you're probably onto something.
Jim had something to say.
Yeah, I think Jill just definitely nailed it, that this is defining the retreats in her niche by medicine and goals. I see too many general retreats of people I've met want things a little more specific. So if you think, gang, this is kind of a broad analogy, but this is easy to understand for a savvy group like this one, that when we were growing up, there were maybe like 3 to 15 channels available to us. And then compared to how it is now, where there are hundreds of thousands of channels between podcasts, YouTube channels, streaming, right? We see how the movie theater, it doesn't have the place that it did in our culture the way it used to, and movie stars aren't as like concentrated. It's diffused across podcasters and YouTubers. It's a big part of the reason. This is great news for abundant tribe leaders like you, because it's about having a niche audience that sees you, that aligns with your values. You get to bring all of yourself to. You're not trying to like water down to appease to a mass audience. Really, in your tribe, it's about having between 20 to 40 people who are paying to be a part of this. And the tribe can look a few different ways. It can be a year-long tribe, and in which case the investment would be typically minimum $10,000 a year to be a part of it, especially if there's a retreat included with it. It can be a 4-month container. And that's a nice place to start. And we still like the idea of there being a live event included, because that's where the real bonding and deal flow happens, and the immersion, and why people feel like, yes, I want to stay in this tribe ongoingly. It can only really be achieved best through a live in-person event. Let's move on to the next distinction. So we cover niche and how important that is. The next thing is having a clear business model behind it. So having a certain price point in terms of entry, we're big fans of making it really easy for people to engage with you the first time, that first purchase. That it depends on where you're at too. I'll just qualify that slightly. That if you want to do like a high ticket thing and say, all right, I know who my niche is and I want to get an infusion of cash flow. You know, we've done it different ways over the years. So it could be $10,000 as the initial investment. That includes the retreat, and that could be like a 4-month container. That's a very valid way of doing it. And then at the retreat itself, you might invite them into a year-long program that could be $100,000, right? Like we've seen that done before. And there's a lot of people who offer $100,000 offers things that's frankly more about them than about their audience. It's their desire to make lots of money. We're not aligned with that, gang. That's not the type of abundance that we're talking about. Ours is much more holistic. Together we rise. If you offer something at $100, it's because it's really worth $1 million to your audience, and you're giving a great deal at 100,000, which is a great thought experiment, by the way. Something I've done with many of our tribe members is what it would be like to have 100% alignment that what you bring is worth at least $1 million. Because you got it in you for the right person to bring that type of value. It means shifting the mindset, like Jill mentioned earlier, any limiting beliefs about oneself and the deep connection and transformational value you can bring to others' lives. Blow the lid off that. You truly can create something that's worth at least $1 million. So those are some examples of business models where you would be having an initial purchase. It could be a lower end thing where it might be like the $997 example I gave earlier, where it's like $997 for the 3-day event. On that one, I didn't include the overnight accommodations. It just doesn't work particularly well. So it would be $997 for that. I think I included lunches because I made a deal with the venue, like where they would waive the room rental fee if I just paid for the lunches, and then offering something on the back end from there. But that's the basic gist of it.
Hotels don't operate that way anymore. So if you wanted to do anything that's under $1,000, you would have to get like a event room somewhere, right? And that's probably not what we highly suggest. So charging about 2,000 to 3,000 and having a nice retreat home with a large space in the living area that you can host your event. And then you don't have to, if you charge about 2,000, you don't have to include overnight stay, and you could just have your team stay at the house. That way you have your in-house team there that is easier for you to operate from. So that's a model that's available. We did that for our first retreat, and that worked. It was around 2,000 to 3,000 that everybody had paid to be there. And we had about $15,000 in upfront, like before the doors open type of cost. And we already had made around 21. So we were in black there. And then on the back end, we had a 4-month cohort that was launched. And then about 6 people signed up. So yeah, it worked out for us in that model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something that is a result of COVID, frankly, is that hotels lost so much money during that time that they're trying to make it up as much as possible. So a real spike in what hotels charge to be doing the events there. And this really clicked for me in 2023 as we were looking for like, oh, we'll get like a cool boutique hotel or whatever. And it was like so cost prohibitive. And then it was the universe nudging us towards mansions in nature, and specifically doing a midweek case where you'll pay, in often cases, half as much as you would on a weekend. So this is one reason we like working with entrepreneurs, is they're not bound by the 9 to 5. That's just where our heart is too, is with entrepreneurs. So by choosing our structure of like a Monday through Thursday, we're able to get it at a much lower rate and ensure the health and sustainability of us as an enterprise. And people really, truly love it. If you think of this term soul family, so that's something that we say a lot around our events, is soul family, that a family gathers inside of a house, y'all. They have meals together around the dinner table to have this immersion. I mean, family reunions, I think, are best when you have like 3 days together, like at a house. Only this is, in my opinion, a lot more fun because this is your soul family that you're bonded by with this mission, and you do the personal development work and you're committed to something higher on the planet. If there's any questions or comments about your business model, would love to hear it. I know we're coming up at top of the hour pretty soon, so we want to keep on going. Jill says retreats in a shared place have a different vibe than hotel retreats too. Yes. 100%. Sounds like you've been to both. I feel like the term hotel retreats is kind of stretching the term retreat a bit. It's not as severe as saying virtual retreats, which is just complete BS in my mind. Talk about contradiction in terms.
Right.
Virtual retreat.
Going on virtual retreats, and that is total BS, guys. Like, we are tricking our mind to really believe that all this is enjoyable. Like, this 1 hour Zoom and a few minutes is perfectly fine timing. But no, don't pretend that you're gonna sit in front of your computer for 10 hours and that's like the most amazing time you're having. That's not where life changes.
Yeah, if you believe that is the most amazing time you could be having, then we're not the tribe for you.
We're very surreal in person, and Dr. Ken has been to 2 of our retreats, one partially, one fully immersed, and that's the type of life we want to create for our planet.
Mm-hmm. So the next step that we get to cover is around marketing your tribe. And this is a common thing that comes up is, how will I get people to show up? How do I fill my events? And gang, this is an ongoing thing. And this is why we want to speak to it right now to get on the court. Have patience, have compassion with yourself. I'll just share anecdotally, like there's so many cases we've seen. Unfortunately, it's happened even within our own tribe leaders, where they have a retreat on the calendar and they're not getting the signups that they think they should be getting. And then they'll cancel it 2 weeks before the retreat, even though the majority of your signups happen 2 weeks before, typically. Not every time, a lot of the time. That's the case.
The momentum builds up, gang. Like, we are about 2 weeks out for our retreat, and we just enrolled 3 people yesterday, right? So we got Jane Duber, Nick, and Jay Passette. So it's just not right to give up on your mission. So think about your retreat as your life mission, where you have this one slide ingrained on why you're doing this, who this is for, and what are the outcomes you're going to get. And then when you're having conversations and you put something on calendar, give yourself some time, give yourself grace. If you're right now in June or July, then you want to have something in calendar for August, September. And then start getting conversations going. Like, every time you go out there, yes, I have an amazing retreat coming up. Of course, talk to the ideal clients, like go in the right groups. And then you'll start seeing how people will be like, oh, I want to be a part of that. I want to enroll. And then boom, you'll have about 10 enrollments. And the first time, you don't need to do more than 10, 15 people. Remember, it's small events, big incomes, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we often use Jesus as an example, not from a religious context, but more from a tribe leader context. As a marketer, as a movement maker, we look at different leaders. He's one of them. So 12 was the magic number that got established there. And there's something about that, having 12 people at your initial retreat, where it's enough to create a lot of cohesion there and crowd energy, a lot of individual bonding, so that you get to have that groundswell as you grow your tribe further. You have 12 ambassadors out in the world who will then go tell their friends about it, because they're off at these other industry events or these other events like we talked about that is unique to your niche, and you can grow from there. So speaking, we've mentioned, is a great way. It's our favorite way to be filling your retreat. So there are a lot of networking groups, and especially if you live in a major city, there's going to be a lot of networking groups happening. Find the ones that are in your niche and build a relationship with the organizer and find out what it takes to be a speaker at these events. So having hosted many of these events myself, I know that I really favor someone who comes to my event first, actually bothers to get dressed, buy a ticket, even if it's like a low cost $25 thing, and then they show up, and then I get to know them a bit in person, and then they ask, hey, what's the process for speaking on stage? This is my topic, and I believe I could provide a lot of great value to your people. A lot more likely to book that versus a cold email, right? So speaking at events, as not all events are created equal. So if you're doing a local one, then having it be as niche specific is going to serve you the best. And if you're doing the multi-day in-person conferences, we know for a fact that, especially if you are going to be offering them to join you at one of your retreats, that the best way to find people who love going to in-person multi-day events is at multi-day in-person events. So going to different conferences and showing up there as a speaker. Monty and I are at the point right now where we rarely go to conferences unless we're the speaker. We just found that's not a good use of our time. Just the lack of positioning of being there and then setting up one-on-ones. Oh, it sounds really interesting, but they tend to see you more at peer level. So we would much rather sponsor and be on stage and then be calling forth those people to speak with us afterwards about joining our retreat and hopefully joining our tribe if they're the right fit. Okay, got it. So other guidance when it comes to filling your retreats, it's useful to have a landing page with a video on it. So you saw our video that we have. We invested to have that. It was important to us to really make a statement. I mean, especially if it's called Abundance Retreat Club. We had to really reflect that in the quality of our landing page. This is 2024, gang. So people are Googling stuff. They want to check it out online first before they speak with you. So if you're going to get any kind of buzz, people are going to want to see it, what it's all about that way. This obviously leverages your time rather than having to speak with everyone individually. So having a sweet landing page, take the time to actually nail the copy. AI is a useful tool to at least get something going, and then you can modify from there, really coming from the soulful connection with your people and having that video that really, really depicts it. Monty, you're really an expert with online marketing. What do you want to add?
I personally love doing these lives that you could do. You could start having conversations through your social media inboxes. Like I love LinkedIn. You know, we onboard amazing people from LinkedIn, and then speaking at the local events, and also just when you're having conversations, gang, like enroll people in your vision. This is your vision. This is something you've given birth to, and you just want everybody to come nurture with you, because for all you know, this might be their vision too. And that's what we found out, is that a lot of people who are in our community, it's also their vision. So now it becomes a shared vision outcome to create this tribe. And then everybody will become like, we call them our Avengers. Like we have an Avengers team now, right? That is truly standing for the tribe's well-being. So more that you go deep, and that's why that meditation really helps, because this is a heart-centered leadership, servant leadership approach. You're here truly to serve your community, and you're putting everybody else before you, of course, not without your self-care. So Dr. Ken knows we're big on our daily self-care in order to come show up for the community. And that's also a big value of ours. And that's why we say wealth, health, and spirituality. Right. So gang, this is an amazing opportunity to work with us, get to know the inner workings of a tribe. We tell people, like, come and become a tribe member, truly see how the operation works, and then pick out the people that you really think are a good fit to work with you. And then you will have other people join from somewhere else. And then now you'll have your own abundance tribe.
Mm-hmm. All right, gang. So we hope this has been valuable for you. If you want to share any takeaways in the chat, we'd love to hear that. And we'd love to connect with you further. If you believe that there's something here to explore further, if you resonated with what Monty and I have been sharing, with our experience and what we're standing for, you resonate with the vibe that you saw captured at our retreats, then there could be something really special there for you. So just DM us, and then we'll set up a one-on-one conversation, and we will take it from there. Our next retreat is happening July 15th through 17th in San Diego. We have some top level folks who are coming in for us. One of the things that we're very proud of is that people will fly from everywhere, like 7-figure entrepreneurs coming in from Boston, just because they know this is the right tribe to plug into, and then sharing their greatest insights about creating scalable businesses, about investing, about creating tribes. And this is a place where, yeah, there are experts, yet at the same time, everyone's an expert. And even if you're newer in business, we hold you high as an expert, and everyone is seen as valuable. It's not like, oh, the special speakers are at the back table and they're not going to fraternize with the commoners like you see at these conferences. And I've spoken at those, and I've been to the speaker table. It never really sat right with me. So that's why we created it this way, where it really is a curated group. We're all students first, and we're here to rise together. So do get in touch with us if you're interested in seeing what else is possible. Dr. Ken, the model of 12 ambassadors is a fantastic new idea for me. Yes, and there is some Jesus energy to Dr. Ken. I do see that.
Well,
You're already
we haven't figured out. That's why we love him, right? Like, he is such a role model. So yeah, we would love to hear, like, what are you taking away before we end the webinar, because we want to make sure that everybody who was here has gotten some amazing ideas and things that they can already implement.
And you can unmute for this if you want to share any takeaways.
Well, I completely align with you 100%. I want to come to your retreat in a couple of weeks. It's amazing.
Love it, Kathy. Yes, we would love to have you there. You'd be a great fit for our community and tribe, and just such an amazing heart-centered leader you are. So we look forward to having a conversation with you.
Me too.
I'd love to have you, Kathy. What you are changing the game when it comes to wealth on the planet. We see that in you. You play a vital role, and we're here to support that, empower that, and just fan the flames of your passion, make it a big raging bonfire for the world to see.
Jill's practical ideas. I hadn't thought about midweek before. Yes, that's a new concept. You don't have to do it over the weekend. It's a work day, and you could write it off because you are practically working on your entrepreneurial edge. If you're not already 100% in it, then you could write it off as, like, you know, the entrepreneurship that you're entering into. And if you're already an entrepreneur, that's perfect. Then you can have the weekend to
I'll just add one more thing. In addition to the cost being so lower to be doing a midweek versus a weekend, I'm curious if you all have had the experience of going to an awesome Friday through Sunday event, and then Monday hits, and you're like, damn, I was hoping to have a little space to decompress, to integrate, but I can't because it's Monday, and because I've been at this thing for the past 3 days. My emails are backed up. I haven't been looking at my text messages, so I got to catch up. So it's kind of a crappy place to put your participants in. It's not ideal, I'll say. So in some cases, that's just what you got to do. I'd say if you're looking to just get as many people as possible, that's the game, then yes, doing a weekend would serve you better. But for what we're talking about, which is the small events, the niche audience, the truly committed folks who will commit to being part of your tribe, who really align with your mission, it makes sense to do it midweek. And then they get the space to really integrate afterwards. It's a higher service to them, and is to have a few days to digest. Some people will want to set up their one-on-ones with each other. That happens at all of our retreats, is that people will spend the next day with each other after the retreat because they want to drop in further. Some people fall in love with our retreats, as a side note. So if you're single, that could happen. It has happened before. And then it's really go time come the next Monday. So that's just another side of it too, Jill.
Yes, absolutely. All right, gang. Make it a powerful, powerful weekend. And we're available if you want to have a conversation and see what is a great way to collaborate and get this going for you to be the amazing heart center, impactful leader that you're meant to be in the world.
All right, gang.